In the spirit of reconciliation, Empower Healthcare acknowledges the traditional custodians of the country throughout Australia and their connection to land, sea, and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today. Okay, so our agenda for today is I'm going to chat a little bit about myself, who we are in terms of Empower, what's in this presentation for you. I'm going to review some of the assistive technology which can support you or your clients at home. And then at the end, I'm going to go a little bit more into Empower and the kind of services we provide. Again, there will be time for questions at the end. So about me, I was originally born and brought up in Hong Kong, originally Scottish. I then studied occupational therapy up in Glasgow, moved to London for a little bit, for 5 years, worked within the NHS system, just only moved to Sydney March, so I'm still quite new, and straight away joined Empower. So I've been working here for about 7 months. So who are we? We basically started in 2016 in Melbourne. Since then, we've expanded to Perth, Brisbane, and also Sydney. So we work with all of these specialties: physio, occupational therapy, nursing, massage, dietetics, speech, podiatry, and we also have allied healthcare assistants. So what's in it for you? We're going to speak about the types of assistive technology which can support you to live at home and promote independence. I'm going to discuss how Empower Healthcare can help you achieve your goals and provide you with any equipment that might be needed. I'm going to discuss the assessment process through Empower and how we can work together to identify any equipment that might be needed. Again, there will be more time for questions at the end. So what is assistive technology? It's often used for products or systems that support and assist individuals with disabilities, restricted mobility, or other impairments to perform functions that might otherwise be difficult or impossible to some people. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the little bits of assistive technology which can help your clients or yourself. And it's basically, so if a client comes to you and is saying that they're struggling with these little kind of tasks or activities of daily living, this is some of the equipment we'd be able to provide just to help them out. So first of all, the first one on the left is toilet surround. So that's a piece of equipment that might just be able to help someone stand up. So it's just if they need that little bit of push to help them get into a standing position. As you can see, the middle one is a bit of a combination of the one on the left and the right. So that's if someone needs that kind of upper body to help them stand up, but also raises the height of the seat itself, which is when, you know, someone might be a little bit taller, having some hip pain, that can really help with reducing that. And the one on the right is just where it completely raises the full toilet seat. So that can be really handy. You know, so like I said, someone's just experiencing hip pain. They don't feel they need the full toilet surround, and they just need that little bit of additional height to stand up. So these are some of the bathing aids that we can provide. The first two are just seats that might go in the shower. So the first one is, the middle one is just a shower stool, and it obviously doesn't have a back to it, but it takes up a lot less space in the shower. The one on the left is just for people that need that little bit more support, whether they might need to lean back, they don't have as much sitting stability, little bits like that. The one on the far right is what we call a bath board. So it's just something that if they have, you know, a shower over bath or anything like that, it's something that would just be able to go across the bath. And it's something that they can sit on, get their legs over, or even just so they can have a seat in the bath. And that just kind of reduces the need for them to be like stepping over, you know, standing on one leg, and just where that might impact on their balance and increase their risk of falls. The other one, which is just at the top, is something that you can just put beside the bath. So that's again when someone might like have a high bath, but then they don't really quite feel that they need any of the equipment that's listed there. It just increases a step, which means there's not such a big step over the bath, basically. So next, this is just a little bit about hygiene aids. So the first one on the left is just a B day. So it's basically if someone is able to go to the toilet, recognize they need the toilet, but they might just have some little difficulties with wiping and they're needing some help with that. That's something that can just allow them to maintain that independence. It's the exact same with the two items on top, which are basically just wiping aids, which means that again, they just wouldn't need someone to help them and it just promotes that independence. The two at the bottom, so the one on the left is a male urinal bottle, and then the one on the right is for a female. Again, it's just if they have some of that reduced mobility, they're maybe not quite able to make it to the toilet, they might experience some urgency, and this means they can just have it either next to their chair, next to their bed, and it just reduces the need for them to walk to the toilet that often. So these are lots of kitchen aids on this slide. They're so helpful in regards to people that might just have reduced grasp strength. They might just not have, as like, for example, with the kettle tipper there, they just might also have that reduced strength in their upper limb. Or also it could be due to things like, for example, they don't have use of an arm, and then it just like makes it so that you only need to use one arm for any of these kinds of tasks. For example, the two on the left are things like one-touch jar openers or tin openers. So it means if perhaps you have left-sided weakness, you just pop those things on top of the tin or the can, put it on there, you tap it, and it does it all for you. Again, just increasing that little bit of independence. You can see some of the boards there. Again, that's just in regards to if you do have some of that weakness, it allows you to do things with one hand. For example, spreading your toast, as you can see there, cutting the cucumber. And the other one where it's just the knife is a bit attached, that can be due to if you feel like you do have that reduced fine motor skills and you don't feel comfortable holding an item and chopping. Then it just means it gives that little bit more stability while you're holding the knife where you can bring it in, and it means that you don't feel the knife might cut yourself or little bits like that. In regards to the one on the far right, the stool you see there, that's just if people, again, like have a bit of reduced strength, fatigue while standing somewhere, cutting their veg, just prepping their meals. And that just means they can have a little seat while they're completing those tasks, and they might not need to constantly sit down. Someone needs to help them. The one on the bottom, like quite close to the left, is basically what we call a kitchen trolley. And that's when people are experiencing difficulty, holding plates, holding cups, they're finding it a bit difficult to walk without dropping items, or also it might be that they actually need, a Zimmer frame and a walker. So they're also not able to hold a plate while they're doing things like that. So all that means is you can put a plate or a cup on this, and it also functions as a walker while you're transporting meals or, hot drinks around the home. So next, this is just a few kind of falls aids that we can provide. Again, this isn't comprehensive, but just thought I'd touch base on a few. So the first one on the left it just obviously is a little bit of a watch. It's like a smart watch, and basically something like that is actually where you can go outside. So the one in the middle is like a lot of the time it has a 50-meter radius from the main device. So that most of the time is used within the home, and you can wear it around your neck or on your wrist as well. And it's just something where you press it and then someone's alerted of a fall. It can be pre-programmed to, 5 family members, for example. And if the first one doesn't answer, it just progresses through the list, and that it reduces the risk of experiencing a long lie. So the one on the left, like I said, that's where you can actually go out, access the community. And then if no one else is around, you'll be able to alert someone that you've fallen. And also a lot of them have almost like a fall sensor, which means if it detects you have experienced a fall and maybe you become unconscious or experienced an injury, it'll automatically go again to all those family members that are alerted. And then also it has a GPS, so you know exactly where they are. In regards to the one on the right, these are just non-slip masks. You've probably seen them before, A lot of people have them in their bath already, you know, the little rubber sections, which can obviously be really helpful in regards to reducing slips in the bath. But these are basically items that can go around the home, whether it be, you know, outside the shower, next to the toilet, and also next to your bed. I understand a lot of people, you know, already have kind of bath mats or shower mats in place. A lot of the time, though, these can be quite high pile and they slip around, which can also make it a bit of a trip hazard. So these don't slide around the floor. They're very low, which means they don't form as much of a trip hazard, but still reduce that risk of falls. And also when you're getting out of the shower, it means it's not slippery on a wet floor and it still dries it off the way a bath mat would. Obviously, it comes in a lot of different colors, so you can make it suit your bathroom, you know, however you want. So in regards to chairs and seating, I'm sure a lot of you will have seen these little bits before. So the first one on the left is basically just a riser recliner. So, you know, it can rise you up to make it easier to go from sitting to stand. Also, the leg rest can come up, and that can help with things like edema, you know, just reduce some of that swelling. And also the backrest can go back or up. So that just makes sure that your client is able to have a more optimal seating position, posture, and it just makes them more, and it can also increase some of their sitting tolerance, you know, rather than having to go to bed, and they can stay, you know, in the living room, watching TV, reading a book, whatever they want to do. A lot of the time as well with these types of, and with that specific chair, it actually has integrated pressure relief. So if you feel like you are at risk of pressure injury, anything like that, then this seat is a really good option for you. And it means that you can stay sitting for longer periods of time without that risk. So the one in the middle is just something like a dining chair. You know, a lot of people have dining chairs where they might be quite low, maybe not have the chair arms, which can make it really difficult to stand up. So the one in the middle is just, you know, it has the chair arms, the long back, which means it just promotes really good posture and makes it easier to sit to stand. The one on the right is basically what we call chair raisers. So this is if, like, you know, you really like the chair, you're really happy to keep the chair, but it might just be a little bit low for you. So this is something that we'd be able to put just on each of the legs to raise it up however high you'd want it. They come in different heights, so it can be really suitable to your needs and what your height is. So going on to bedroom aids, I'm sure everyone has seen the one on the left, which is like, you know, the high-low bed. And then also the bed head can come up, which just makes it a little bit easier to get from that lying to sitting position. The bed can go up and down, which means if it's in its lowest position, while you're getting into bed, it can be quite easy to get your legs into the bed. It just makes that task a little bit easier. And also, if you put it higher, then it just makes it easier to stand from the edge of the bed. Another really good function of this is a little bit similar to the chair. Basically, the bottom of the bed can almost raise the legs up, which means that it just, again, can reduce that risk of edema, that swelling. And also what it can do is with the bed head raised and the legs raised, it can just reduce the risk of slipping forward in the bed, so maintaining that optimum position. Again, we can look at things like if someone experiences shortness of breath and lying flat, this is a really good option because we can keep it so the bed head is just slightly raised, which makes it more comfortable to sleep. So the one on the right is basically where it just has the bed head raiser function and it just goes on the current bed you have. So if you feel the only difficulty you are experiencing is where you might just be finding it a bit difficult to get from lying to sitting on the edge of the bed, and you really are happy with your current bed and your current mattress, then this is something we can look into for you. Just slips on top of the mattress and can give you that little bit more independence. The one in the middle, it's just something that, again, it can be put on your current bed, and it's just if you feel like you need a little bit of help with pulling yourself up into from lying to sitting on the edge of the bed. So it's just something you can hold on to and lift yourself up. Obviously, in regards to the kind of equipment we would recommend, it's very specific to someone's needs. You know, if they're experiencing shoulder pain, then we obviously wouldn't really think about providing something like a bed rail. So it's just all really based on the client's needs. So in regards to memory aids, there's a few things that we can provide. In no way is this an expansive list, just to give you a few little snapshots. So the picture you can see on the bottom is a pillbox reminder. So this is just for medication, where as you can see, you can fill it out for 2 times a day, and then just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way through to Sunday. And then there's just a little reminder that can go off up to 4 times during the day. And that just reminds you to take it in the morning, lunch, afternoon, or evening. A lot of people might also not be able to fill in their own pill boxes, and they might get blister packs, for example, or Webster packs, which are from the pharmacy. And something that can be really good is the top one, a reminding clock. So this can just go on the edge somewhere in the living room, somewhere in the bedroom, wherever you feel it's the best fit. And again, that can just give you an alarm during the day, however many times you want. In regards to things like timers, they can just something really simple. You know, you have the twist timers or the digital timers, and that can be really useful for things like cooking tasks. So if you feel like you're putting something on the stove like pasta, and you feel like you're then walking away from it, watching TV, and actually forgetting that you'd left it on, burning food, things like that, then just a really simple timer can be something just to remind yourself, making sure the second it's on, you just put that on. There's obviously other makes of this, but what can be really good is something like Alexa. And that can be really good if you kind of find it really difficult with timers, with some of that fine motor skill things. And obviously Alexa is actually just done for voice control. You know, you can say like, remind me in 15 minutes, set a timer for 15 minutes, and it lets you know. You can say, put in something on Tuesday, you know, if you have a doctor's appointment, can remind you the day before, 2 hours before. So it can be really helpful for little things like that. Something that's really simple is just something like Post-its. You know, if you put Post-its on the fridge, you know, it could be something as simple, you know, as if you have a pet, if there's something you need to do a few times a day, just put Post-its on the fridge. So it can be something as simple as, you know, feed the dog. You just do that. Like a family member can do it for you if they're out for the day, and then it just reminds you, and you can take the Post-its off as you've done them, and it just gives you that little bit of a simple reminder to do some of those activities. So in regards to accessing the community, there's a few little things we can look at. In regards to, you know, all the little like walking sticks, Zimmer frames, four-wheeled walkers, that's something where they can refer you to a physiotherapist, and they'd be able to look at all those little aids for you. From an occupational therapy point of view, these are the kind of things that we would normally look at. So if you feel like you need a wheelchair, whether it's you just want to go out into the community and a family member would be able to push you, then we can just look at something really simple like the left side, you know, just a standard wheelchair. And it just allows you to get out the home, you know, kind of increase that quality of life. Obviously, which is what this wheelchair is. It can also be that it's self-propelled. So that's just something where you can hold onto the wheelchair and you can actually move it yourself. So that's something if you do feel like you have the upper limb strength, but maybe your legs are quite weak, or, you know, you have paralysis in your lower limbs, then that can be something that's an option for you. And they just let you maintain that independence as well. So the middle one is a mobility scooter. I'm sure everyone has seen these everywhere. So if you feel this is something that would suit your needs, it can really just promote that independence, you know, so getting out of the house if you have that reduced mobility, and it just means it's something you can do on your own. In regards to a mobility scooter, there's obviously a lot of factors that need to be taken into account though for whether someone would be suitable. Before we can do any kind of assessment, we do need to get GP clearance first, just so they can sign off that it is a suitable kit for someone. And then what we can look into is someone's thinking skills, physical function, and just how well they would be able to operate a mobility scooter. So the thing on the right is actually a really simple piece of kit, and it's just something that can actually just help you get in and out of a car. So what it is once the door is open, there's a little hole on the door. I don't know if any of you would have noticed that. And what it is the spike that comes out the top of it just almost clips into that. And it's basically just so you have a handle that can help you pull up into a car. And also it's just a little handle for if you're getting out. Just provides some of that stability and helps you just with the standing up or getting in. So the Empower OT service. So as we spoke about before, we actually have a wide range of specialties which can help you with any concerns you have, which outside of occupational therapy. Once we receive a referral from a case manager, support coordinator, whoever it will be, and they've put in any of the details for why the referrals come through, we'll come to your home and do a comprehensive assessment based on what the referral was, whether this be looking at the home in general for home safety risks, whether you've already highlighted that you might be having difficulty with, the toilet, the bathroom in general, or whether it's accessing the community. We'll then come out, have a chat with you about what your specific concerns are, do a specialized or individualized treatment plan based on your concerns and what your current function might be at that moment. And then together we will just help identify the kind of equipment that you think you might need, which can just make some of the daily living tasks easier. Obviously, if our referral has come through and it's just for like a toilet aid, and we get there and you do have other concerns, we will then discuss that and make sure we do a wide, we'll take in everything into account. We won't just like focus on what the specific thing that might have initially been brought up. In regards to assistive technology, a lot of the time, if it's more specialist piece of equipment, we normally want to go to a showroom just to trial it out. If this is things like beds, wheelchairs, like, the kind of riser recliner chair we spoke about, we like to go to a showroom just because there's lots of different types. And so it's just to make sure we highlight one or identify one that really suits your needs. In regards to little things like toilet aids or, the shower stools we spoke about, we can normally just arrange for that to be delivered to your door, and then we'll just do a follow-up phone call to make sure you are happy about that. In regards to the whole process, we make sure we liaise with case managers to assist in the process of delivering any of those pieces of equipment. Make sure we liaise with the case managers all the way through in regards to feedback on the initial session, letting them know the equipment that we identified, what the next steps are, whether it is attending a showroom, whether it is just kind of sourcing quotes from suppliers to then have them delivered. And that just ensures that the process is as seamless as possible. Like I said, once the equipment has been delivered, we will follow it up with you. Depending on the piece of equipment, like I said, shower chair, little pieces like that, we might just do a phone call and make sure everything's okay. If it's like a larger piece of equipment, like, chairs, wheelchairs, or the kind of high-low beds we spoke about, we will come back to the property, just make sure you're happy with everything. You can use the controls and it still just suits your needs. If when we give you a call, even for a little piece of equipment, you're having some concerns, you're not really sure if it does meet your needs, that's no problem. And we can come out again, just assess how you're managing in the home environment. It might be a little fix, or it might just actually not quite suit your needs. And that's something we can look into. So in regards to Empower Healthcare, in regards to our service coverage, so we have coverage in Victoria, Melbourne, we have it in the Greater Brisbane area, we have it in Western Australia, and then we also have service coverage in Sydney. So we cover quite a wide range of areas, and we have therapists in each of the almost like suburbs that will cover that area and just make sure you're able to be seen quickly. Yeah, in regards to referring on to Empower, as you can see at the top, if you just go onto the website, there can be a client referral form. So you can just fill that in and then it will come to our team and they'll be able to help you out with going through with everything. Okay, any questions? I might stop sharing because or else I'm not sure if I can see everyone. Can you hear me, Nicole? Can you hear me, Nicole?
Yes, yep,
Oh.
I can hear you.
Does anyone have any questions about what I've spoken about? Want some more information about any of the assistive technology I've discussed, the referral process?
It's very comprehensive. Obviously, no questions.
Okay. Anyone else? You might have a client that you were, like I said at the beginning, this was like a bit of a quick run through and snapshot of the little piece of equipment we can provide. There's obviously a lot more, in regards to even things like dressing aids. Just couldn't touch on it all within 30 minutes. Yeah, does anyone have any specific questions or might come to you
I can
later?
see someone's typed something in the Q&A. People can't type in the chat. We've just had feedback, so maybe go into the Q&A part.
Oh, yes, I see.
Yeah, that's strange.
Oh yeah, I see one question. In regards to the false watch, I have kinds whether these can work internationally. I'm actually not sure. That's a question I've never had to think about that. Yeah, I'm not sure if they would work internationally for calling family members. Um, Sorry, I'm not really sure about that and whether I've never had to think about whether something would only work in Australia. Yeah, so in regards to nursing, they do provide continence assessments. So again, they can just come to your home and they'll be able to look at all, the specific things that may need, whether the pads or just kind of managing that continence. Um, yeah, we do work with CHIS clients and GEETs, so you can make the referral to us and we'll be able to come out and then we can put the equipment through GEET for you. All the therapists have access to the GEET platform. Does anyone else have any questions?
Someone's answered the watch one, saying it only works in Australia with a SIM card.
Perfect. Thank you. Now I know that for the future.
And Maria from Sydney, I think she's asking about continence assessment. That's only in Victoria at the moment. Sorry, Maria.
Yeah, so we don't have that in Sydney. But yeah, I think I answered the question about CHIS clients. We do work with them. I see one about in the future, can you do a session on other assistive technology? What kind of assistive technology would you want to hear about? I don't know if you just want to turn your mic on and chat or type it into the question and answer section. Yeah, we can absolutely do things like manual handling pieces of equipment. So yeah, we can definitely do another session on things like hoists and some people that have a bit more of a comprehensive or complex needs for those functional assessments or any of those physical impairments they have. Yeah, and I see about power wheelchairs and scooters. I'm sure that's something we could look into in the future and just providing another session on that. No problem. I know that's a really big topic. So it'd be yeah, I know it had to be a little bit of a snapshot in this one, but I'm sure we'd be able to go into a more comprehensive PowerPoint on that in the future. When you say home and living assessments, is that more looking for someone to get rehoused? So, to the best of my knowledge, we don't nor currently do SIL in regards to FCAs and things like that. So that's not something we currently do or offer. Questions? Is that all?
I think that's it for now. Did you want to share the next webinar?
Oh, yes. Apologies. Okay. Right, so the next webinar we have is on the 19th of February in 2025. It's basically just chatting to one of our respiratory physiotherapists and when to refer your clients for respiratory physio with Empower Healthcare. It'll also come up on the YouTube page, but you'll also be able to visit the Empower website and then you'll be able to sign up for that. Or you could do the QR code right now if you're quick. Okay, that's everything from me, unless anyone else has more questions. I'll stop sharing so I can see them. It doesn't seem like any more questions have come through.
I think that's really good. You're so thorough. Thank you, Vari.
No worries. All right, well, it's lovely to sort of meet everyone. All right.